Have you ever opened a bag of chips planning to eat just a handful, only to realize the entire bag was empty before you even noticed? Or promised yourself that today would be the day you avoided junk food, only to find yourself reaching for a cookie, a candy bar, or fast food almost automatically? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone, and it's probably not because you lack willpower. The real explanation lies deep inside your brain. Modern processed foods are carefully engineered to exploit one of the most powerful biological systems humans possess, the dopamine reward system. Every bite can trigger chemical signals that encourage you to keep eating, even after your body has had enough calories. The result is a hidden trap where your brain craves pleasure while your health quietly pays the price. Understanding how this system works may completely change the way you think about food. Dopamine is often called the brain's feel-good chemical, but that description is actually misleading. Dopamine is less about pleasure itself and more about motivation, learning, and anticipation. It teaches your brain which behaviors are worth repeating. Long before supermarkets existed, this system helped our ancestors survive. Finding ripe fruit, honey, or high-energy foods was difficult and unpredictable, so every successful discovery triggered dopamine, encouraging them to seek those foods again. In an environment where calories were scarce, this was an incredible evolutionary advantage. The modern food environment, however, is completely different from the one our brains evolved for. Instead of occasionally finding sweet berries or fatty nuts, we now have unlimited access to foods that combine sugar, fat, salt, and refined carbohydrates in ways that rarely exist in nature. Food scientists often refer to this combination as the bliss point, of the precise balance of flavors that maximizes enjoyment and encourages repeated eating. Every crunch, creamy texture, burst of sweetness, and savory flavor is carefully optimized to keep your brain engaged long after your body's energy needs have been met. One fascinating aspect of dopamine is that it often peaks before you even take the first bite. The sight of a pizza box, the smell of freshly baked cookies, or the sound of a soda can opening can all trigger dopamine release. Over time, your brain learns to associate certain places, advertisements, packaging, or even specific times of day with rewarding foods. Eventually, these cues alone can create powerful cravings. This is why simply walking past your favorite bakery or seeing a commercial for fast food can suddenly make you feel hungry, even if you finished a meal only an hour earlier. Processed foods also deliver calories at remarkable speed. Whole foods usually require chewing, digestion, and slower absorption. An apple, for example, contains fiber that naturally slows digestion and helps create fullness. A sugary soft drink, on the other hand, delivers large amounts of rapidly absorbed sugar with almost no fiber at all. This sudden flood of energy creates a stronger reward signal while providing less lasting satisfaction. The faster the reward reaches the brain, the more powerfully it reinforces the behavior that produced it. Another reason processed foods are so difficult to resist is something psychologists call sensory-specific reward. Your brain naturally enjoys variety. Imagine eating plain boiled potatoes for dinner. After a while, you would probably lose interest. Now imagine a buffet filled with pizza, fried chicken, desserts, ice cream, chips, and soft drinks. Each new flavor briefly refreshes your appetite because different taste combinations activate reward circuits in slightly different ways. This helps explain why people often feel completely full after dinner but somehow still have room for dessert. Food manufacturers also understand the importance of texture. The satisfying crunch of potato chips, the creamy smoothness of chocolate, and the fizzy sensation of carbonated drinks all add additional layers of sensory stimulation. Some products are even designed to melt quickly in the mouth, creating what researchers call vanishing caloric density. Because the food disappears rapidly, the brain receives weaker signals about how much has actually been consumed, making it easier to continue eating without realizing it. Sleep plays an unexpectedly important role in this dopamine trap. When you don't get enough sleep, the brain becomes more sensitive to rewarding foods while the regions responsible for self-control become less active. At the same time, hormones that regulate hunger shift in ways that increase appetite. Ghrelin, the hormone that stimulates hunger, rises, while leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, decreases. As a result, processed foods become even more appealing after a poor night's sleep, creating a cycle where fatigue leads to unhealthy eating, which in turn affects sleep quality even further. Stress creates another powerful connection. During stressful situations, the body releases cortisol, a hormone that prepares you to respond to challenges. While cortisol is helpful in the short term, chronic stress often increases cravings for highly palatable foods rich in sugar and fat. These foods temporarily activate reward pathways that provide comfort and distraction, but the relief is usually brief. Once the dopamine response fades, the original stress often remains, encouraging another cycle of emotional eating. Repeated exposure to highly rewarding foods may gradually change the brain itself. Similar to constantly increasing the volume on a pair of headphones, the brain may become less responsive to ordinary rewards over time. Foods that once felt exciting become normal, encouraging people to seek larger portions or even more intensely flavored products. Although eating processed food is not identical to substance addiction, researchers have found striking similarities in the neural pathways involved in craving, reward, and habit formation. Marketing further strengthens these biological vulnerabilities. Bright packaging, carefully designed logos, emotional advertising, and strategic product placement are all intended to capture attention and activate learned associations. Limited time offers and oversized portions encourage impulse decisions before the rational parts of the brain have time to evaluate them. In many ways, the modern food environment constantly competes for your attention, using psychology and neuroscience to influence what you choose to eat. The encouraging news is that your brain is remarkably adaptable. While cravings can feel overwhelming, they are not permanent. Gradually replacing highly processed foods with whole foods rich in protein, fiber, and healthy fats helps stabilize blood sugar and reduces sudden dopamine spikes. Fresh fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, eggs, and fish provide slower, more sustained energy that supports both physical and mental health. At first, these foods may seem less exciting, but over time many people find that their taste preferences begin to shift. Simple habits can also weaken the dopamine trap. Keeping tempting snacks out of immediate reach, planning meals in advance, eating without distractions, sleeping 7 to 9 hours each night, and managing stress through exercise or relaxation techniques all reduce the number of situations that trigger automatic cravings. Even pausing for a few minutes before giving into a craving often allows the intense urge to fade, giving the logical parts of the brain time to regain control. Perhaps the most important lesson is that struggling with processed food does not mean you are weak. Your brain is responding exactly as evolution designed it to respond, but it is doing so in an environment unlike anything humans have experienced before. Foods specifically engineered to maximize reward are available 24 hours a day, often costing less than healthier alternatives. Recognizing this reality allows you to approach your eating habits with greater understanding rather than guilt. The dopamine trap is powerful because it works quietly. Every advertisement, every convenient snack, and every engineered flavor combination gently encourages another bite. Yet once you understand how your brain responds to these signals, you begin to regain the ability to make conscious choices instead of automatic ones. True freedom around food doesn't come from perfect willpower. It comes from understanding the science behind your cravings and creating an environment where your brain works with you instead of against you. The more you learn about how dopamine shapes your decisions, the easier it becomes to break the cycle and build healthier habits that can last a lifetime.